Okay, guys, here we are. Welcome to the grand finals. We are here with Viper and DauT facing off versus their rivals, Nicov and TaToH, to claim the crown and a $2,000 first prize in this best of five. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you to Microsoft for sponsoring the tournament here for $5,000. And a thank you to Nilpford for taking over the stream and dealing with our technical difficulties, and Resonance22 for being here to cast with me for this grand final set of games. Hello, guys, and Rez, if you want to take it away and introduce the players and the civs here.
Gladly, gladly. It's always a pleasure to be here. The games in the tournament so far have been great. You can find the VODs on our respective YouTube pages. Don't watch just the finals, especially the third place matches before this. The second game was really, really excellent. And I expect nothing less than more excellent games in the grand finals. So, starting with the Viper will be playing as the Yellow Mayans. And to his north, we have DauT playing as the Green Spanish. A very historically inappropriate combo, but a strong one nonetheless. On the opposing team to their right, we have TaToH playing as the Blue Burmese. And just below him, we have Nicov playing as the Red Italians. The map of choice today will be Hideout.
Yeah, we've seen this map quite a lot in this tournament and in the last tournament EGM2 as well. It's been a map that keeps coming up in those random generations, and I just wanted to remind everyone the way the maps are chosen. There is a pool of maps and they're randomly selected, and then out of those maps the teams ban some maps, and then the remaining maps are the ones that are played. Hideout seems to make it through the gaps quite a lot, and it's kind of cool because it is a map that I enjoy a lot, and it has some very interesting elements to it. But let's talk about the civs a little bit first, because the civ choice from TaToH, first thing he did was choose the Burmese, and that's expected, right? The Burmese, incredibly strong monk civilization. On a map like this, we do see a lot of monk mangonel aggression, and I fully expect TaToH to go for the monks and get aggressive with them. But Nicov taking the Italians, it's a civ that we probably wouldn't have expected to see so much. I think we've only seen the Italians on water maps so far this tournament. And I think the reason they've chosen the Italians is because their unique unit, the Genoese crossbow, should directly counter the Conquistador from the Spanish, since the Genoese crossbow is an anti-cavalry unique unit at range. So I feel like that could be something to keep in mind, and maybe that's part of the reason why they chose it. But let's also not forget that the Italians save 15% on their upgrade costs to the Feudal Castle and Imperial Age, and their gunpowder units cost 20% less as well. So in the late game, they also have a pretty formidable army, being able to utilize that gunpowder, and that's really nice. And I love what Nicov has done right here. I know there's a lot of Nicov fans in the chat, and that was a great play by Nicov. Viper, there was a hole in Nikov's wall. Viper came through. Nicov sent his scout out and got Viper to chase his scout out. He closed the hole in the wall and then went back inside of his palisade gate. Viper, of course, followed, and now Viper is trapped inside of Nikov's walls.
Yeah, that was an absolutely excellent play from Nicov. Very clever. Of course, full well knowing that the Viper being the Mayans, he has an Eagle Scout, which is stronger than a Scout Cavalry in the Dark Age. He knows that the Viper is going to want to try and do some bullying with that. Players often open a hole in their walls to do a boar lure in the early game. So he exploited that, and he ended up trapping the Viper Scout in his own base. This is important because it denies the Viper any sort of scouting information. As soon as that Eagle Scout goes down, and Nicov can't engage yet because it has 41 HP, which is still more, then the Viper is going to be basically playing in the dark. I think he made a very interesting point about why the Italians are being picked here, perhaps for the Genoese crossmen. I think that they're a criminally underrated civilization since the last set of buffs that we gave them in like patch 4.8. I think they're a very good civilization, and I like both teams' choice of civs. I feel like they have a fairly well-rounded group, and the Viper going to start walling on the right side.
Okay, so Burmese. Let me just quickly check something here. Burmese, +1 infantry attack per age. And what does the Italian unique unit that unlocks for everyone? What is that? The Condottiero.
80 HP, 10 attack, 16-second creation time.
Super fast creation time. Plus, if the Burmese make them, they could also get the +1 attack per age on top of that, which could be really powerful actually, and maybe a combination that these guys are considering.
That is a good point. In fact, one of the combinations that I fear the most from a balance perspective would probably be the Malians plus the Italians, because the Italians give the Condottiero unique unit, the barracks, to all their teammates. The Condottiero is intended to be an anti-infantry style. Oh, sorry. So it's supposed to be an anti-gunpowder infantry. Oh, this scout's going down.
That's
Emergency
so
Tato
good. That
folding
little quick
in.
wall from Nicov.
Nice.
And then the scout, yeah, 2 HP.
Oh, stab him with the villager. Oh.
Oh well. Oh well. Nice try. They got it anyway.
He's gonna get him. Okay, so the Condottiero. It's an anti-gunpowder infantry unit. It actually has excellent combat stats. One thing that caught us off guard with initial balance testing is just how strong that unit is. Just as something that you do in the early Imperial Age. You just mass it up. You pretend like it's not a counter to gunpowder units, and you just treat it like a champion that you don't have to upgrade. So in that respect, it's pretty good, but we have nerfed the creation time on it significantly, which weakens that specific strategy, but still leaves it viable as an anti-gunpowder unit. This is also crucial because the Spanish love to make gunpowder units, and the Condottiero deals with that quite nicely, and the Burmese have excellent Condottieros. So what a cool set of civilizations from TaToH and Nicov. I love it.
I really hope they thought about that and they're considering that, because I think that would be amazing. So in the meantime, obviously we've witnessed Viper losing his scout cavalry, not scout cavalry, Eagle Scout there inside of Nikov's base. That was really nice, and that's going to deny any scouting information from the Viper. But both Viper and DauT taking the time here to wall off their sides of the map. Viper with his palisade wall coming up here on the right side, and DauT with the same on the left side. It seems like these guys are preparing to just split the map in half and wait it out. And, you know, I don't know if that indicates that they're playing a more defensive playstyle or if they're planning on actually getting aggressive in the Castle Age. But I know that DauT is a player who does like to boom. I know he's a player who would, you know, I think he'd prefer to get his 3 TCs up and going before he really gets aggressive. And I anticipate he's going to be doing just that. And interestingly enough, DauT, normally when we've witnessed the Spanish, we normally see them taking stone to get the castle and make the conquistadors. But DauT here, as the Spanish player, he isn't taking stone yet. He's just doing a standard fast castle. And that could tell us quite a lot about his strategy, since you would expect him to be on stone right now.
Yeah, this is definitely atypical of the Spanish. He is going for a standard fast Castle Age build. In terms of the hideout metagame, generally speaking, because players start with Palisade Walls, a Dark Age or Feudal Age rush is discouraged because it's very difficult to get past those. But in the Castle Age is when the action really starts picking up. And that's when the Spanish civilization are very strong, because the Conquistador unique unit has excellent combat stats, and it's very, very cost efficient for the resources that you spend. Fascinating to see that he's not doing that. I wonder if he's just going to end up full booming, and maybe he is, because he is starting what appears to be stone walls. Players often split that map in half, and it looks like DauT's going to play very defensively.
Yeah, absolutely. I think DauT is going to be playing that defensive game style with the boom, as I kind of thought he would, to be honest. Now, I just want to say, I know there's a lot of Spanish viewers right now, because I do see a lot of Spanish in the chat. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with you guys being here at all, but I do want to inform you that we do actually have a Spanish stream as well. So if you would rather watch this game in Spanish while you cheer for Nicov, you can actually head over to the Spanish stream. It is linked below the stream, and it's being cast by Memb and Riverplation, the 2K player that you've probably seen in the EGM2. They're streaming on escapeaoe_ES, just to inform you of that. But of course, if you want to watch us cast as well, we appreciate that, and you can stick around here also. But what's interesting to me is that Viper is actually walling up with stone as well. And it seems like, you know, if you look at Viper's eco, he's only got 2 villas on stone here. That's not typical of doing a castle drop strat. And yeah, I do get the feeling like both Viper and DauT, they've gone into this with a game plan. And that game plan is, let's boom this one.
Yeah, that's a very interesting game plan at that. Of course, the Spanish in the late game are an absolute monster, something that you're never sad to see in your team, because of their 25% increased gold income from the trade, and also just their very broad open tech tree. Sure, they don't have that great of a set of economy bonuses with the no gold cost on blacksmith upgrades and the faster building. It's nice, but it's not amazing. But in the late game, the Spanish are absolutely excellent. And the Mayans, of course, can boom very nicely with their insanely strong economy of 15% faster, longer lasting resources, and I'm curious to see how this will play out for them, because I can't help but feel that TaToH and Nicov also have a great Imperial Age, but they might not be able to see this coming.
Well, I think Nicov will see the wall coming up, and he will, pardon me, he might react to that in, saying, well, if they're walling up on this side, go check out what's going on the other side, TaToH. We need some information here. We need some reconnaissance. And TaToH is moving his scout over that way now. So they're going to see the walls fairly soon, and hopefully they do see them before they commit to like a castle age aggression. Because, I mean, okay, you could build a forward siege workshop and start taking the wall down with mangonels, but DauT's going to have enough time to try and re-wall behind it. And there you go. TaToH's going to see the wall here. He's going to spot
Nice.
that out, and he's going to say, okay, well, we know what their game plan is now. We know that they're going to be behind this wall booming up, but you can't always guarantee that that is the case. I mean, there's always a bit of mind games that go on. And for me, the mind game, if I was Nicov and TaToH, is, okay, they're walled up like this. What are they doing behind those walls? Are they booming up? Or are they actually building a massive army and they're going to delete their wall and come through and destroy me? So there's no peace of mind that that there's any safety here. But I love what Nicov is doing.
Nice.
He's coming forward, dropping the castle on the wall. And yeah, I mean, Viper's just spent so long. This is this villager's life work right here, building this line of palisades and this line of stone walls, because they just take so long to build. And now he's like, God damn it, I've just spent 15 minutes of this villager's time walling this up. For what? Because this castle is going to tear that wall down very quickly, and there's no way Viper can wall behind this.
Yeah, so one of the other things that's great about these walls is the denial of information, like you said. They're basically playing in the dark. They have no idea what is on the other side of the Viper and DauT's walls. But speaking of playing in the dark, Nicov put his castle at exactly the right distance so that the Viper did not see it coming up. And the element of surprise is huge. It's all about those mind games. And this means that the Viper will not have time to reinforce those walls, add an extra layer, react to this. He's going to have to put down another siege. He's going to have to put down like a siege workshop or something to try and defend. But he doesn't have the wood in the bank. He just thought he was going to get to boom in peace. He's in for a rude awakening as now Nikov's going to shred through those walls because the castle fires 4 arrows apiece. So he'll just chip right through it.
Yeah, I think he knows something's up, though, because Viper here did move a lot of villagers over to stone. I think he'll have a defensive castle up in time for Nicov to break through and do some damage. But even still, I think it's going to be interesting all the same to see how Viper does react. Obviously, Nikov's going to have the edge with military production here because the Genoese crossbow are already being queued out. And on the other side of the map, both DauT and TaToH are content to boom it up, it seems. Though I'm wondering what is going on with DauT. He's only got 2 TCs at the moment. Is DauT actually going to be doing like a 2 TC boom for like a fast Imperial? Because I would have expected to see the 3rd TC by now if that wasn't the case.
I'm going to have to agree with you there that it's very odd. Yeah, he's even just spending the wood on a mill, which could have been a 3rd town center. So this signals to me that this is clearly deliberate. He's going for a 2 town center fast Imperial Age. What will he do with this, though? It's probably going to be gunpowder. Maybe he'll use it to sling some resources to the Viper, but if I had to guess, he's going to be going for gunpowder, and this is really interesting. It will catch them by surprise, and the stone walls will allow him to do that safely, and his opponents, Nicov and TaToH, will have no idea this is coming. Speaking of things that are on the way, Nicov he's in through the stone walls. The Viper trying to add another layer of stone walls. Actually, this forest is quite well generated. He should be able to hold the line there, and like you said, this castle will keep him alive. I think the Viper will be fine.
Yeah, I think so too. That castle's going to come up with plenty of time to spare as those Genoese crossbow close in. And of course, Nicov doesn't really have the vision here to know where exactly Viper is hanging out. So that castle will push him away or deny him for now. And that's all good. But yeah, I think I was wrong about DauT. He did actually add his 3rd TC. But it was quite delayed in comparison to TaToH. DauT on 50 population right now, with TaToH on 52, 53. It's not a huge difference, but the 4th TC is already coming up for TaToH, and I expect him to actually pull ahead in villages quite a lot here. I also would expect a 4th TC from DauT, but I might be wrong. And whoa, on the left side, Nikov's scout maybe getting a little lucky, but coming in here, and he's actually going to find the gap.
Yeah, so the
village is going down.
Yeah, the Viper spider sense was tingling. He realized that finishing that piece of wall was not worth it. He needed to close the other side of that forest as fast as possible. But he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Nicov, in the right place at the right time, picks off that villager. He has got fletching. The Viper does not. But the Viper's unit here is better in this situation. I mean, I guess they have an additional 1 attack. A Genoese Crossman does, but the extra 5 HP in the Mayans economy, I think, is better. Either way, Nicov will bring in a mangonel, and this will allow him to apply a ton of pressure to the Viper, basically just circumventing that castle entirely. And meanwhile, DauT stockpiling a lot of food and gold. So this makes me think that if he is going for a more standard boom, that the Imperial Age is on his mind in the not too distant future. Yeah, he is on a 4th town center now.
Yeah, he is. So now we've got the Genoese crossbow versus the plumed archer. The Genoese crossbow has one more base attack. They have the same amount of range, but the difference is the plumed archer has 1 pierce armor, whereas the Genoese crossbow has none. So overall here, the plumed archers will come out on top. They're also a cheaper unit as well, since they get the reduction in cost from the castle also. So that means that the mines here will be the superior... will have the superior unique unit for this kind of battle. Nicov going to stand on his hill for now, and of course he's going to keep bringing mangonels in, but Viper already has the defensive mangonels ready. Someone was asking in the chat, why is Nikov's score so low? Nikov's actually very behind in population. He only has 2 TCs. He's actually behind in quite a lot of villages right now. And this castle and siege workshop set him back in that respect. So Viper on 3 TCs whilst booming up here and making military, whereas Nikov's only on the 2. So he actually had a little bit of a slower start, and it's a little more expensive. Oh, Viper with his plumed archers going to catch this mangonel out, perhaps. Let's see his micro here. He is a god of micro. And would you look at that? He was actually focusing on the Genoese crossbow instead of the mangonel, knowing that the mangonel couldn't shoot, and he's going to finish that off now as well. One more shot. Done. And Viper probably will clean up Nikov's army here. I think he's got the edge to do it. They've both got Bodkin Arrow, and Viper just has the superior unit for this kind of engagement.
He absolutely does, and he has the superior economy to boot. It's worth noting that even though... so Nicov could have had another 10 center instead of building that siege workshop, but he wanted to apply that pressure, catch the Viper off guard. But even then, the Mayans have such a strong economy with the longer-lasting resources, so it's really just snowballing out of control. And this means that Nikov's push is going to be basically completely ineffective. He's going to lose the Genoese crossmen as well. I think he needs to probably cut back on the production of those, stick to mangonels, and just try and get his eco back on track. He's got a 3rd town center coming. I think this army will get mopped up with or without that mangonel, and yes, they're going down.
Yeah, Nicov here, quite late to add his 3rd TC. Viper added his 3rd TC a lot sooner. TaToH, he's got 4 TCs. And DauT, 5. DauT's just going for a huge boom here, and I'm expecting something big from him. I'm surprised he was so late putting the 3rd TC down, but now he's up to 5. We know exactly what his game plan is. He's going to be going for that Imperial Age Mega Death Ball push. He's probably just waiting out that upgrade, and then I expect I think he's going to go straight in towards Paladins this game, to be honest. But I might be wrong. So far, though, he's not taking that much stone, and if he was looking for Conquistadors, I feel like he'd be taking more stone at this point. I'm expecting the Paladins from him, just due to such a huge food economy, and having just all these TCs up, 5 TCs, Monk collecting the relic, just securing himself a perfect situation to go into the Imperial Age.
Yeah, my money is on either Paladins or something like maybe hand cannoneers, bombard cannons, etc. It could be either or. Regardless, DauT is looking mighty intimidating. TaToH just clicked up to the Imperial Age. Let's swap over to DauT's perspective. DauT is going to be about 20 seconds behind him. Meanwhile, TaToH recognizes that he is probably going to have to reinforce Nicov. Nicov just a bit further behind the Viper, so he's walking some villagers across the map to put down some double barracks. Please be condotieros, man. That would be so sick.
Oh, yeah. It would be awesome. I was really hoping, though, I feel like it's a little unfortunate for Nicov that he didn't go against DauT here, because I feel like Nikov's got the better civ to deal with DauT, and TaToH has the better civ to deal with Viper. It's just a little unfortunate that they spawned on the opposite sides of which they'd really like. But yeah, those barracks are coming up. There are 3 barracks here from TaToH, and I think it's the Condottiero. The Squire's upgrade is coming in, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, the Burmese do get +1 attack per age starting in the Feudal Age, so they end up with +3 attack in the Imperial Age on their infantry, and that's all infantry. That's going to be halberdier. That's going to be two-handed swordsman, sorry, and that's also going to be the Condottiero as well.
So one thing I didn't consider when I mentioned the DauT's potential strategy of maybe he would be going for gunpowder. He's definitely not going to be going for gunpowder unless he's surprised about the possibility of the Condottiero. He knows, even though that he's adjacent to TaToH, that the Italians do grant that unit to TaToH, and well, we might see that coming into play here. TaToH will be the first player to the Imperial Age, so he is clearly trying to get there as fast as possible. Nicov really on the back foot. We're at 123 population for DauT. Nicov at 87, so he's not cripplingly far behind, but he is very far behind. And like you said, these matchups are terrible for them, so it's quite unlucky. As Nikov's Genovese Crossman, there are no cavalry units for the Mayans. Good news is, though, for Nicov, he does get his discounted Imperial Age. He's on his way up, and all eyes on TaToH. Zach, what will it be from him?
Well, let's see. I'm switching to TaToH's point of view now, and it's the
Yes!
Condottiero. We called it. We didn't
Yes!
read it. We thought something was up. All right, that's pretty decent. But he's not got the +4 defense yet, and I think he's just waiting for that. But this is going to be a hell of a lot of spam right now. Also, bear in mind, they're going to be in front of the Genovese crossbow. They don't have a huge amount of armor. They've got 3 pierce armor right now, but 80 HP, not too bad. They move pretty quickly, and 14 attack damage, with TaToH still yet to complete all of his upgrades. Look at this, though. 4-5 wall on the left side, double walling that up. TaToH's going to make sure, aren't those fortified walls just so impressive from Southeast Asian civs? They're so nice. But that is just going to stall DauT out for now. DauT, of course, going into mass knights, going to be upgrading to Cavalier, but no way to get through the walls right now. He's stalling him, and now the Condottiero, they are coming in. +4 defense, +4 attack, and still more upgrades to come for TaToH here. I do question whether these Condottiero are going to be super effective versus the Plumes, though. Viper yet to get the Elite Plumed Archer upgrade because he's not in the Imperial Age yet. He is going to be there fairly soon, but this gives TaToH a window of opportunity to fight and throw his Condottiero away, it seems, because they are dying quite quickly to the castle and doing a little bit of damage, but not quite as much as we hoped. I think he still needs the extra attack upgrades to really finish this one off, and he is getting iron casting right now.
So the Condottiero is almost always worse than Champion in a late game situation unless you're versus Gunpowder, but we're not in a late game situation. What makes this unit so strong is that you don't need to research all those upgrades to get that power spike. They have respectable stats. They have a little bit extra HP, so they're viable as a counter unit. Then the early Imperial Age, they spawn quickly. They don't take all those resources, so they need to take advantage of this early power spike and put some serious pressure on the Viper. A lot of Condottieros down the drain. They are getting a lot stronger with the Burmese. That's when it becomes insane. They need to start getting some trebs, removing this castle, but the Viper's doing a good job holding the line because he has the hill. And on the left side, it looks like they're going to give up on TaToH and then move on to the right.
I actually feel like the Malians would have been a better civ to do this with due to the extra pierce armor instead of the extra attack. Because they would have ended up with an extra 4 pierce armor versus an extra 3 attack. But TaToH here, he's doing scale barding right now. He's not actually finishing off with the +4 attack here. So we're only going to see +5 on these Condottiero. 15 attack damage is still very high, but it's certainly not the 17 which they could end up with. And I don't know, man. I don't think these Condottiero are really going to be good enough. He's actually researching Elite Battle Elephant right now, and that might just be the oomph that they need to get through here.
Yeah, so they really just wanted to put on as much pressure as possible. I mean, the Condottiero in the early Imperial Age is exactly for that. Some other fun combinations with that are, of course, things like the Goths, but I find the Malians to be one of the most scary ones. This is a bit of a dicey situation for them, as right now DauT is waiting for his delicious Paladin upgrade. I think the Elite Battle Elephants is actually a good... Alright. I think the Battle Elephants are actually a great idea, as they don't have a good answer to this. They're going to need a bunch of monks, halbs, and whatnot. They don't have that. This castle going down.
Yeah, absolutely. Both castles, in fact, going to go down there. And it's a real treb war at the moment with 4 trebs each. But interestingly enough, where did those trebs from TaToH come from? I think he sent them all the way across the map. Oh, wait, no, that was his castle there, of course.
Right.
That was his castle? Yeah, it must have been. Of course. I'm losing it, guys. But yes, stalling them out for now. You wanted to say something, Milford? Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
So I was going to say earlier on the game when Zach was talking about the gap, is that there's not that much of a gap between TaToH and DauT, and this is one of the things that makes Hideout such a crazy map and so obnoxious too. There was really not much of a space there, and that means that you can easily cut through with Onagers. DauT coming into this economy. I don't think TaToH saw this coming, and if you want to screw up their plans, this is how you do it. They did not account for that at all. Now they're getting mopped up by the Paladins. TaToH will not have the eco to make Elite Battle Elephants, and that's what he was banking on.
Oh, no. Oh, no. It's all gone down the drain for TaToH right here. Ah, God, that hurts. I mean, the Elite Genovese crossbow from Nicov doing a great job against the Paladins here, but TaToH was not prepared for the Onager cut through. That is something on this map that really screws players over, and I guess it's not something you anticipate coming from the from the Spanish or coming from the Mayans either necessarily. I guess with the honor jet making it so much easier to cut, it just opens the floodgates to these paladins, and TaToH here falling foul to that. That's gotta hurt. So many idle villagers right now for TaToH. He's down to 120 population. DauT, on the other hand, is at 174, and most of TaToH's economy is now idle. Oh, that was so unlucky for them. Well, not unlucky, but it's just well played by Viper and DauT, I guess, but unfortunate for TaToH and Nicov all the same.
Yeah, very well played on their part. I have to say, I love TaToH and Nikov's game plan. I really think it was well done. It's just they were not prepared at all for this cut by DauT and the Viper. Some excellent decision-making, and really the Viper did such a good job holding the line too. So they countered a great strategy with an even greater one. TaToH falling apart. He is able to make halbs, and these halbs are exceptional with the 6 and then the 6 attack and then the additional 3 that they get. But no blast furnace, no economy for TaToH, and without the elite battle elephants, which I really think would have been the ace in the hole, this is going to fall apart. I love the Genoese crossbowmen as a way to deter the paladins, but it doesn't matter. The paladins are in TaToH's base.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like that's the biggest problem for TaToH and Nicov. They couldn't get DauT and Viper where they wanted them.
Yeah.
I think the ideal situation is, okay, Nicov uses his Genoese crossbow to fight the paladins, not fight the plumed archers, because they die a horrible death to the plumed archers. So I think that was the key there. They needed to use the Genoese crossbow to kill the paladins, and they needed the battle elephants to kill the plumed archers. If they'd have managed to pull that off, I think they would have won that fight. But DauT and Viper, they're not stupid. They're going to make the best play possible, and that is to not engage in that fight. They want to engage in any fight other than that. Anything that can give them any advantage at all. And that advantage, of course, is just, okay, let's take the paladins to the other side of the map and actually gut TaToH's base while he least expects it. So TaToH here, he really has nothing left. It's all onto Nicov now, yet somehow TaToH still has the highest score here.
Which is ridiculous. So, how do you defend against this? That is the question. Well, on a map like Hideout, it's great to have defensive castles, which TaToH actually did. He had a defensive castle to protect his town centers, but you don't want to build them right up against the wood line, because then they become trebuchet fodder. The thing is that he didn't have enough defensive infrastructure in his base because he got surprised by it. We can't really blame him for that. He had most of his military buildings on the right side of the map. He also had most of his military on the right side of the map. So really, DauT just analyzing the situation, realized that TaToH would not see this coming. Now he's swarming him, and TaToH's so weak, somehow has more score than Nicov, but I think they're in huge, huge trouble.
Yeah, exactly. And I think right now as well, TaToH here, he's trying to defend this with monks, and that's a really great unit choice to defend this kind of aggression from heavy cavalry like paladins from DauT, but it's just going to come too late, and it's not going to be enough. So that's going to be the GG there from TaToH and Nicov. DauT and Viper going to grab themselves the victory in game number 1. And, it was a very nice attempt from Nicov and TaToH. I do think they had a great game plan, but Viper and DauT, they're not going to play TaToH and Nikov's game. They're playing their own game, and I think ultimately Viper and DauT reacted better, and I would argue that maybe even that was the game plan all along, to cut through the middle, because DauT and Viper both walling the sides like that really allowed them to boom the way they wanted to, and I think they were preparing for that kind of cut through anyway.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point. I think this is something that they certainly considered, especially looking at the way the map spawned initially. They were like, okay, well I can probably, if need be, cut through this and end up winning the game. Both teams had such a great game plan, and that's the level of play that I love to see from these 2v2 tournaments. But in the end, DauT and the Viper take the first game.
Absolutely. So, do we need an AoE spoiler emote? Because if we do, you know what you got to do, guys. You just got to subscribe to the channel, get a few more subscribers, and we'll have enough to get another 5 emotes, and we can get some more AoE Loom and AoE spoiler I guess emotes in the chat. So you know what to do, guys. You know what to do. Nilpford, your analysis on that one. Maybe we should let Nilpford call the GG instead of us doing it, and then we know that we might spoiled it.
Yeah, no. Let's all just continue how you did before. Just give me sometimes a time maybe, and I can catch up like the 10 seconds that I'm behind. What happened here? DauT did a pretty bad boom. TaToH was heavily ahead, but Nicov looked even worse against Viper. Basically, 2 players going for the same strat. Nicov castle and some boom. The Viper first boom, then the defensive castle, got all the defense up and was so far ahead with the eco. And Nicov just didn't scout well enough, and not sure if I like the siege workshop, not sure if I like the addition of his Genoese crossbowman at all. Maybe just put the threat of army into the head of Viper and then not build something. It is mind games, but if you just go for some units, it's basically guaranteed that you come out behind. But it was really tough for them. The Viper and DauT both got the walls up, boomed a lot, nice defensive play, and Nicov+TaToH's direction should have been to just boom themselves, but it would have been super risky. It is rock, scissors, papers, and this time Nicov was on the losing side.
Absolutely. So there you go, guys. 1-0 to the Viper and DauT. And we're going to be going into game number 2 very shortly. People asking how many